All right, it's been a long time coming. This one was 5+ years in the making, so let's get it started. As I said in the beginning, this thing's been 5.5 years in the making. Started this back in 2019, 2020-ish time frame, and you'll see it's a booger. Have you guys ever heard the term hindsight's 2020? Now that I'm doing the voiceover on this, I'm starting to realize this chuck is probably the issue that I have throughout this entire video. I cut this blank from a water oak tree back in 2016. It's been sitting around my shop going place to place for quite a while now. So it's a little bit too big in two areas when I cut it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get out my Arbor Tech and just pop it down a little bit on this side and then flip it around if I can. Ugh. Out of all the tools in my shop, besides the joiner, this thing, this Arbor Tech, it scares the crap out of me. It grabs, it pulls, it does everything to try to jerk it out of your hand.
Ooh, I don't like that thing at all.
Yeah, there were other ways for me to trim down this blank. Could have brought a saw over and cut part of it off. Could have brought it over to my bandsaw, but I think this was the quickest. You might notice, part of this blank is rotted, so you can watch it and it just doesn't balance out well. This can be very hazardous because you can't get a good cut on it. You'll see. I'm going to stop talking just for a little bit so you can hear the soothing sounds of turning. Watching this clip, you can see my hand bouncing back and forth and the lathe kind of rocking a little bit. That just shows you how out of balance this is, and I just can't get a true cut on it. What's going on right here is I'm chasing the cut. That means that I keep cutting it down, cutting it down, cutting it down. It's already about an inch smaller than it was, and it's getting smaller as we go along. So I've switched over to my carbide bit just to get it down to a better semblance, see if I can get it rounded. And I tried to turn it up and the whole lathe is moving now because it's so out of balance. This thing is bucking like a bronco. And that reminds me, have I ever told you guys that I attempted to ride a bull back in 2011? Believe it or not, I even have it on video and no one's ever seen it, period. I lasted about 2 seconds. The bull bucked me off, threw me to the ground, and commenced to just taking advantage of me. The worst part, I didn't wear any safety gear and it shredded my jeans, shattered my ankle, cut the backside of my arm, and put a hoof pin around my eye. I still have a lump on the side of my head from it. Moral of this story, don't be an idiot like Ken. They call stories like that personal engagement. It's supposed to make me seem more relatable. Does it help? Do you guys like to hear how stupid I am, what I've done in my younger years that's really dumb? Let me know in the comments. Over the years, I've realized that sometimes you have to step back from a project for a few days and just reassess the situation. And that's what I'm going to do with this bowl. That's right. You're seeing it correctly. 3 years. It went around my shop everywhere, landed on this table and back of my lathe, and just sat there. In fact, if you go back and watch some of my older videos, you'll see it in the background. Getting back to my bowl story, what I found peculiar about the whole situation, when we went to the emergency room, one of my guys brought me in there, and I told them that I was stomped by a bull. And their question was, a real bull? Go figure. Now that we have this thing remounted on the lathe, it's now warped, way out of round, out of balance, and hard as a rock. Now, when I said this thing was hard as a rock, I meant it. My tool is just skipping right off of it. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a carbide and see if it'll help a little bit. Even the carbide isn't doing very well, and I'm starting to feel that frustration set in. So I'm going to put it aside for a few days. Again, your eyes are not deceiving you. 2 years later, you can see all my projects in between the last video portion and this video portion up on the back right there. So now I'm using my 3/8 inch gouge, and I've got it really sharp and it's working fairly well. I know. The safety Nazis are going to tell me, don't wear a glove while you're turning. Well, it hurts. If you're going to wear a glove, I will deal with the repercussions if I get it caught up. All right, now that we got the shape down, let's go ahead and work on all these holes. I'm going to have to dig out all that dirt from the bug trails, and let's go ahead and fill in the cracks and all that stuff. And what we're going to use is some Total Boat resin for that. After a 2-month hiatus, it's time to get this thing back on the lathe. But the first thing we're going to have to do is remove all of this hot glue, because what it does is it gums up my tools and I have to get them cleaned, and it's a pain in the ass. You may recognize this chisel from the video of when I made the jewelry box for my granddaughter. It's a multi-facet chisel, and I can use it for pretty much anything. But dollars to donuts that somebody's going to sit there and chastise me for using a metal hammer on it. But that's okay, I'm used to it. Fire away. Now here, I have a brain fart. I'm trying to figure out why my tool won't cut, and then I realize it's a negative rake scraper, which is used for resin turning, not for wood. So I grab my handy dandy finisher and head to work, and it feels much better. I get emails and comments all the time asking me why I haven't been doing turning videos lately. And you're about to see why. It's because my Laguna lathe is a piece of trash. Well, actually, it's a great lathe, but it's getting kind of old. It's about 10 years old now. And the control box is going out, and it costs about $500 or $600 to get that replaced. I don't have that kind of money, so with that, here's the issue. Lay this you aside, I flip this bad boy over and commence to breaking the screw off in it. So what do I need to do? I need to drill it out. I've tried those plug drill bits before and it just doesn't work. So this is the best way to do it. Just get in there and rub it around and then reach in there with a pair of pliers and yank that sucker out. I don't know if you noticed earlier, but there are two bark inclusions on this side of the blank that go almost all the way through it. What my dumbass did was pour resin in those, and now, well, I don't want to ruin the video for you, so let's keep moving on, get this drilled out, then I'll start cutting this sucker down, and you'll see what happens. I know what you're thinking. Oh my God, this is going so slow. And you're absolutely right. Oh, this was just ridiculous. That carbide bit was just about dull as anything. It all was because of that bark inclusion that I put resin in, and it all mixed with the dirt and became concrete. Oh, stupid, stupid, stupid. So I'm finally down far enough that I've hit that bark inclusion full on, and I'm going to have a lot of trouble, so here we go. I don't think you guys understand how funny it is to watch myself make these videos and see what I'm doing and just think, what the hell are you doing, dude? What the hell are you doing? Damn, this stuff's hard. This is brutal. This is why it's so hard to cut. This is a hard burl in here with this inclusion of what is probably dirt and stuff like that inside here, and then I put resin in there and it hardened up the dirt, and whew. This stuff is hard. I'm not giving up this time. This has been going on for years now. This has been my nemesis and we've been fighting. But holy crap, this resin and dirt that's been in here, and it has bark in there. That's what it is, a bark inclusion. And it's dulling these extremely fast. I'm going to turn this around and see if we can go to the next side and see if it cuts a little bit easier until we can get down to the bowl. I just want to show you, look at this. So that little hole right there, right, was this much cavity inside here. And that's what it filled up. That's a trip, ain't it? Oh, crazy. Real crazy. Kind of like you thought I was done having lathe issues, right? This thing keeps stopping. Ah, I'm having so much trouble with it. Shit. Oh, Ken, we want more turning videos. Shit. So I know a lot of people are going to say, well, it's the switch. All you got to do is contact Laguna. They'll send you a new one. I've gotten 4 of them from them. All right, I have filled in all the cracks and everything, hopefully. I didn't want to put you guys through it, so we're going to let this dry for a day or so. I promise I'm not going to come back to it in 10 years because we're almost done with this. Just got to finish it, finish cut, get it smooth, and then sand it and finish it, and we'll be done. I know this video is probably going to be super long, but oh well, suck it up, buttercup. Let's get to it. So it turns out that Star Bond was bad. I had it sitting on my shelf too long. It wouldn't harden. I had to scrape some of it out. And about 3.5 weeks later is where we're picking up. Yeah, doing it again. All right, look at us. We're on the home stretch here. Almost got the whole thing hollowed out. Next, we're going to have to flatten the inside, and then everybody's favorite part, sanding. And don't judge me when you see what I use. Now, in the turning business, we call this the 40 grit gouge. I ran out of 40 grit paper for my regular sander, and this was sitting there, so I thought I'd use it. We're going to use some sanding sealer on this, and all that's going to do is keep it from getting blotchy when we put a finish on there. But after I'm done with the sanding sealer, I let it dry, and then I go ahead and buff it off with a little bit of this Axe wood paste. Not sure you've seen it, but I made a little commercial for Axe wood paste, just messing around. It's on my channel somewhere. Maybe I'll put it up here in the corner. I really debated on what to put on here for a finish, and I decided on this urethane. And boy, it really did pop, so I'm glad I used it. You got to make sure that you sand in between the first and second coat. Then you can throw on as many coats as you want. I did 6 total. Ladies and gentlemen, we are at the finish line, I promise. This is the most precarious part of the turn. You never know. You could go through the bottom of it. You have to have a very gentle touch. If you put too much pressure on the gouge, you could make the whole bowl fly off the lathe at this point. It's only going about 600 RPM, but it still could fly off real easy. And ladies and gentlemen, we're going to sand this out. We're going to throw some sanding sealer on it, some axe paste, and then hit it with that urethane 6 coats, and we are done. Appreciate you watching. And if you'd like, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you like what you saw, and until next video, stay cool.